Take your shoes off for you hit the carpet. I meditated and prayed in the garden. The Christians some bathing the stones a gate. Vibration so high that I might never take. Third eye is open, I know I'm awake. Third eye is open, I know I'm awake. Third eye is open, I know I'm awake. Third eye is open, I know I'm awake.
Welcome friends and family. Welcome back to the Highly Emotional Podcast. This is episode 4. If you're looking for light, you're looking for love, you're looking for positivity, you're looking for God, then this podcast is for you. On this episode of the Highly Emotional Podcast, right now I'm just gonna give you guys a update on, how I went through my spiritual journey. A lot of people ask me like, how'd you get so enlightened? How'd you, stumble across this path of enlightenment? How did you, become this spiritually aware? And for me, it started when I was a kid, when I was like 5-6 years old. I grew up in a church, like in the, Christian household. We used to go to church every Sunday, Bible studies on Wednesdays, sometimes Saturday school, just all these different beliefs. And as a kid, when I used to go to church, a lot of people would talk about, Jesus walking on water and, all these different things, the Red Sea parting. And for me, I used to always have questions, but anytime I would ask these questions, people would tell me like, you don't ask questions, or, all these different scenarios. And it would just always make me believe like, okay, maybe this isn't true. Maybe these people, they don't know. So therefore they can't tell me. And as like my life prolonged, anytime I would get into like a situation where things were hard or I was going through stressful, I would find myself like this would be the time that I would pray. I would, be down bad, or like I'm going through some type of depression, and that's when I would call on the name Jesus, right? But in my everyday life, I would never like practice these things, because a lot of times I would just have questions. I'd be like, I never seen nobody walk on water, so how would I say that this is true? And then a lot of times, I would force to believe that if I didn't believe this, then I would go to hell. But all these things, they just sounded like something out of sci-fi movie. The devil was, red, and he had horns and all these things. And I personally never experienced that. I never seen it. So how can I lie to myself and say that it's true in the sake of going to heaven, right? Like at that point, I'm lying. I'm lying if I say that I believe somebody could walk on water. I'm lying if I say that I believe in a red band with horn. Yeah, I've seen it in movies through CGI and, through makeup and all this other stuff, but truly in my reality, I never experienced that. So as a kid, I would always struggle with like trying to figure out if it was true, trying to figure out if it was something that I truly believed in, or was I lying? And a lot of times I was lying. I was telling a lie to say that I believed in this stuff. So what happened in like 2017, that's when I went through my deepest point of my depression and tried to pretty much kill myself. And when I went through that process of being in a vegetable state, I sat with the presence of what I would say is God. And it was just pure energy. It wasn't a man. It wasn't, anyone talking outside of me and saying this, and that. It was the presence of pure energy. And it made me feel what it was like to feel that sensation of love, the sensation of just pure positivity, the way I feel when I hug my child. It was a point where I didn't hear a male's voice. The only voice that I would hear was the voice of myself. And for me, that was the closest experience to God. It was no man that I could see. It was just energy, just pure light. And for me, that made me realize that there was something greater than me, but nobody else could experience or explain that to me. No matter how many words you use, no matter what the description is, there's no way that you can describe that to me. So that happened, and that kind of like started my journey of like understanding spirituality, understanding that there was something outside of me for myself. But as far as the stories of like the Bible stories, like Noah, and I'm not saying that they're not real. I'm not like, whatever your religious beliefs are, like if they work for you, then follow that. If they give you the opportunity to live life and out of love and positivity and peace, then I would say follow that and stay true to that. But for me, it didn't work. So after that happened, my life went through so many dramatic changes. So fast forward, 2020 hit and the pandemic happened. And for me, it was one of the most scariest points of my life because nobody had answers. Nobody, you hear people talking about conspiracies of the government is attacking us, or, God is coming back, all these different things, and nobody had answers. So for me, it was one of the scariest points of my life, but it also was one of the best experiences of my life because during that time, I remember that I used to sit by myself and just stare at the window, and I would just sit in silence and just acknowledge the surroundings around me, the world around me, the trees, the birds. I would just sit and I would just feel the experience of life. And I became so so excited about that, so influenced, so addicted to the feeling of just sitting in silence and just hearing the world. As I do right now, I hear the wind, I hear the birds, I hear the water, I hear so many things, and it just lets me know that everything is alive. So during COVID, the reason why I say that it's one of the best times in my life because it allowed me to sit with myself. Those times when I would be by myself, I would meditate. I got into meditation. I would sit and look on YouTube, all these different types of meditations, spiritual awareness type of meditation, spirit guide meditations, meditation for mindfulness, all these different things. And the more I did it, the more that I would become enlightened, that I would feel more alive. Then through these meditations, it would make me or enhance my experience with my family, with my children. When I would hold my children, I could just sit and be mesmerized by just looking into their eyes. So that became like my journey, like my final or my first awakening as far as spirituality. Then I would start hearing a higher version of myself who would always bring me peace and say, okay, be happy with the simple fact that you have hands, the simple fact that you can see your children, the simple fact that you are alive in this moment. And being able to be thankful for those things would strengthen my awareness, would strengthen my spiritual awakening. I remember one time that my wife, she had broke down to me and she was like, I'm so scared with everything that's going on right now that if we get COVID, what if we die? What if the kids get sick and one of them die? All these things just crossing her mind. And I remember looking at her and I just said, just relax. Life is gonna work out the way that it needs to work out. And she couldn't understand how I was so calm at that moment, how I was so relaxed. But my higher self would tell me, life is going to be life. We all know the scariest thing about life is death, right? At the end, at some point in life, it comes to an end. Some people are scared of it. And for me, I think that is beautiful because the experience of being able to love people, the experience of being able to see people, the experience of being able to just exist, that is so beautiful, and that it does come to an end, because if it lasts forever, then we wouldn't be able to cherish it. I think those are the most beautiful things about life in a sense, and that's how I've learned to process the things that happen in life that, people technically say are bad, right? So that began my enlightenment. But not only that, I started getting into healthier eating, managing and learning my body, learning what I put inside my body, learning how I feel after I meditate. Third eye meditation, which I know a lot of people think that third eye meditation is something scary, and some people may not believe in it. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, some people call it the pineal gland or the mind's eye. And what that has done since I got into third eye meditation, it has raised my sensitivity to the world and my awareness. I'm at the point where I can walk up to a tree and I can feel the life force, the vibration coming from the tree. And I can walk up to a tree and I can say, I'm thankful. I can look at the world around me and just be thankful that it exists. I can feel the vibration. So for third eye meditation, for me, it put me in a trance state to be able to experience and love the world. So this was my journey. And now I've gotten to the point where I've become so aware to the world around me and to myself that I can kind of guide myself through life without becoming overly attached to certain situations. I still deal with it. I still, find myself getting overly attached or overly emotional to certain situations, but that's kind of part of the balance of life, working with the shadow and working with the light. A lot of people find it, it's scary when we talk about the shadow or the dark side, but to be completely honest with you, if the dark side did not exist, then neither would the light. You have to use the shadow side of your life to fuel your light. Without the darkness, if you can't manage the darkness, you're never going to be able to receive the light, right? So for me, like, a lot of my situations that I went through darkness for, like whether it was when I was on drugs, whether it was when I was depressed, whether it was when I was homeless, all these different things, I can say that I'm truly thankful, because if I did not go through that, then I would not be so thankful for my life. I wouldn't feel the way that I feel. I feel charged. I can accomplish anything because I went through those low points in my life. And that helped me to where I am now and who I am now. So, as far as people who are looking for the proof of God, if you really want to know what God is, if you want to have a connection to God, the best thing I could say is to sit in silence, sit by yourself, allow your thoughts to roam, and search within you. That's where I found the higher self, the higher awareness, the higher consciousness. And what I would say is God. I truly believe that even using the word God or saying Him, or all these things, we're taking the power from something that is beyond anything that we can fathom in this existence. It's something outside of this. It's something that is guiding our entire life force. So for me, that was my journey. That's what I truly believe God is. And, if you believe in something different and it works for you, then, that's okay. It doesn't matter. Long as that you've learned to live your life out of love, you've learned that everyone around you is connected, everyone is beautiful, everything has a purpose, then I think that that's the true situation that matters. That's the true purpose. And when you find that, I think that that's when you'll learn to be happy with who you are. You'll learn to be happy in your experience. As far as like life, I think that where I'm at in my life right now, I think that if I didn't go through all these experiences, I don't think that I would become the person that I am. And I would just say that as far as spirituality, as far as your existence, the best thing to do is just learn yourself. Learn how your body feels after the foods that you eat. Learn how your body feels based upon the people that you're surrounding. Learn how your spirit feels after conversations or the music that you listen to. And once you take acknowledgement of those situations, I think then you will truly understand the higher self, the higher consciousness, and that will push you in the path of your spirituality. Allow yourself to guide you to wherever you need to be. Don't overthink it. Don't become over-attached, and you will find the true you.
Take your shoes off for you hit the carpet. I meditated and prayed in the garden. The Christians sunbathing, the standards are great. Vibration so high that I might never take. Third eye is open, I know I'm awake. Third eye is open, I know I'm awake. Third eye is open, I know I'm awake. Third eye is open, I know I'm awake.